Hey guys, we love sugar. Sugar tastes good. Problem is, it's causing obesity, it's linked to type 2 diabetes, so we switch over to artificial sweeteners, which at a certain level become bitter, and now it's linked to early dementia. In fact, if you're drinking diet sodas on a regular basis, you're 10 times more likely, studies say, in getting early dementia. So we have a sugar, it's called Next Sugar. It tastes great. It's as sweet as sugar. It's 100% on the sweetness index. Yes, there is an index for that. And guess what? It's half the calories, guys. You can bake with it, try it, get going, do your thing.
Because in either game, life or football, the margin for error is so small. I mean, one half a step too late or too early, and you don't quite make it. 1/2 second too slow, too fast, you don't quite catch it. The inches we need are everywhere around us. Hell yeah. They're in every break of the game, every minute, every second.
Everybody, welcome. We got a lot to talk about today. I was wondering, okay, what are we gonna do? I do like to, be kind of, up current on and what's affecting people, what's not affecting people. I'll throw that one out. But what I learned, as long as you make it interesting, people will listen and will learn. I try to learn just by going somewhere and whatever's being discussed, just absorb it, because later on we'll use that in another conversation and make us more interesting. And even if you're not into health and wellness, and I want to focus on even diabetes and working out, you're gonna know a diabetic, I guarantee it. If not now, you will in the future. And at least you'll have more cards coming to the table. Let's face it, it's all about you want to be as interesting as possible to be effective. And the more knowledge we have, the easier it is going to be interesting. Again, I'm focusing as much as I can while I'm driving. I do have everything set up so it's safe. And I'm busy like a lot of us are nowadays. So when I can't get into my little makeshift studio, I just hook a mic up and multitask. So my apologies if it's not as smooth as it will be in the future, but eventually we'll work everything out and move forward. But this is a learning process for me, and I'd like for you guys to learn with me. And again, when I get everything set up like I would like it to be, then I will be a bigger help if people are coming up wanting to do the same thing or a version of it. But if I just started out with a bunch of backers and money and blah blah blah, well, then my advice would not be as effective. And that's kind of my niche. Is I started out, my dad was a baker, and we lived off of that. We had two sisters, three kids, and we did not. We lived behind a bakery in a small apartment that the owner of the bakery owned, a Dutch bakery, and my grandpa, my dad's dad, was a janitor, and he had 5 kids, so it was not, actually 6. It was not easy, and coming up from not a lot of means, as I try to get into business, when we cover business stuff, it makes it more successful. And now we're talking about health. I'm 44 years old, and the reason I even mention that is I pick the brain of older personal trainers, some in their 60s that are as fit as anybody would want to be. Almost pushing the line of, oh my gosh, where people say, oh, that guy's too big or whatever. So while I have nothing against a 21-year-old personal trainer, let's face it, they're good at what they do, otherwise they wouldn't do it. But sometimes, if they're so full of energy, you may make the case that they can't relate to those of us that are just trying to get up in the morning and put one foot in front of the other. And I've done physical work my whole life. I've done sales and everything in between. I try to stick with one company or a couple different companies. I don't like to bounce around, but I do as much as I can while not burning any bridges, just to be well-rounded. So I learned some things just going through life that way. One thing I learned is the body is not as strong as or as good as we like it to be. And before I forget, the one question I do would like to answer is, what can you do? The most effective thing that you could do to get you going, get in the gym, and start to change your life if you haven't already. I'll answer that a little bit later. If I could wait that long, I'll probably mill over it. I am a type 1 diabetic. I have an insulin pump and everything else that goes with it. But I'm in decent shape, relatively good shape. You could just picture, the guy with the short haircut, and he looks like, he's in the service or whatever. That would be me. And not to toot my own horn, but it's just, of course, I want to get better, and I'm going to tell you what I do to stay healthy. The genesis of this subject was, I was talking to my dad today, and he mentioned a friend of his that has diabetes, and he's just concerned about him. He's getting older, and so I wanted to shine some light. Hooked on phonics didn't work for me. Shine some light on what and how I did it, and there are some extremely effective ways, and a lot of it's just habit. If you get in the habit of doing something, you're going to be more successful. Easy to say when you're already doing it, though, and I totally understand that, because I get out of habits probably faster than anybody. Like I said, Monday through Friday, I got a routine for the most part. The weekend comes, I don't know what to do with myself. So what I would do is, for the people that cannot keep a regular schedule, the first thing you want to do is broaden your habit. Okay, so you talk to any personal trainer, they'll say, and eventually we'll have a personal trainer, we'll interview the gentleman I spoke of in his 60s. But one thing they'll always say is 5 o'clock every morning, bam, 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 gets easier, blah, blah, blah. But if you're like me, I don't know what I'm doing the next day. Sometimes I'm tired. Sometimes I don't have time. So broaden your habits in that. Start with, okay, I'm going to work out 7 days a week. Okay? 5 minutes a day, 10 minutes a day, whatever it is. Say, I'm going to work out 7 days a week. And you're like, well, hello, I don't feel like working out 7 days a week. But what's going to happen is, if you do try to work out 7 days a week, you're going to blow this day, you're going to blow that day, and eventually it may, if you're lucky, turn into 4 days a week. What I've noticed is, if you're trying to work out 3 days a week, good luck with that, because you start one day, you skip the next, and then you're like, oh well, it's Friday. We'll start next week again, and you're gonna fail. To err is human. So the higher you shoot, the more successful you'll be. And then once you get into the habit of working out, let's say 5 days a week, then you start to notice a little bit of difference. And I would say to stay on that thought is, once you notice a difference, your gain, it gets easier. It's like a funnel. It's harder to get in, but once you keep going, it's wider and it gets easier. So you just gotta not get get to the point where you're overcritical. So what I would do is, like, the first 30 days, I wear loose clothing and just psych yourself out. One of the things that works for me is mark something on your calendar. Okay, in 30 days, I'm going to be at this function, and maybe not 30 days, in 2 weeks, I'm going to be at this function. So I'm just going to, in 2 weeks, I'm going to lose these outer clothes. So maybe forget about the function, maybe that's down the road, but okay, I'm going to wear a tank top in 2 weeks during my workout. And, what's going to happen is you're working out and you're psyched out. You can psych yourself out for 2 weeks. You get your music going, and you just focus on 2 weeks, all right, every day. And when you're doing your exercise, okay, I'm going to focus on this set, and I'm going to focus on this rep. So every rep, you're thinking about your goal in 2 weeks. And then in 2 weeks, you lose your sweater, and then you notice a little bit of gain, and then you go from there. And by the way, I'm just a catalyst. I'm not a professional trainer. So what I want you to do is now seek the help of other people, and they'll take you to the next level. All I want to do is just kind of maybe ask you a question or tell you how it has worked in a different way. And even if you are a personal trainer, take some of the stuff, because this may work for other people. Let's face it, you can be the best in the world, but if you're seeing the same clients over and over again, the more input, the better. The better you are, in my opinion. So anyway, so now you're working out, and 2 weeks go by, you lose you lose a sweater, you got your tank top on, and so you need another thing to get you going. Turn your radio up, find your good songs, and now you say, okay, 30 days from now or 3 weeks, keep your interval short. Don't say, okay, a year from now I'm going to weigh myself, because you can't keep yourself motivated for a year like that in one scoop. You have to break it off into little pieces and go to the next one to be successful. Go to the next one. And then what happens is, once you get to where you like yourself, where it's a habit, it's fun, where you like the improvements, only look at yourself in good lighting, and just be positive. Forget the negative. Only remember the positive. And then it just gets easier. Literally, I have a gym at home that I built, my dad and I built, and it was nice and everything. And then the power went out, and then I just disconnected it, because I didn't want an electrician to bill me to death right away. And so I literally go work out in the dark. I have some stage lighting that I'll put in there. It gets hotter than hell, but I'm at that point where it's easier because I enjoy it. I went over the hump, but to get there, it takes that. But you will get to the point where you don't need a fancy gym, you don't need anything, because you will enjoy. In fact, you will hate not working out so much that'll be the catalyst. And that's one thing I tell people is, once you get going, you may get to the point where you're like, I'm fine, or I don't really feel like it. It's one way to motivate yourself is to think how bad you felt when you weren't doing it. You know what I mean? So not for the positive, it's just to get rid of all the negatives. I think that's the biggest thing that I can say about working out. But the question that I raised at the very beginning, I will give you the answer, of course, right after this message, blah, blah, blah. Sugar tastes good. Problem is, it's causing obesity. It's linked to type 2 diabetes. So we switch over to artificial sweeteners, which at a certain level become bitter. And now it's linked to early dementia. In fact, if you're drinking diet sodas on a regular basis, you're 10 times more likely, studies say, in getting early dementia. So we have a sugar. It's called Next Sugar. It tastes great. It's as sweet as sugar. It's 100% on the sweetness index. Yes, there is an index for that. And guess what? It's half the calories, guys. You can bake with it. Try it. Get going. Do your thing. All right. Okay, so the question was, how do you, what's the biggest thing you could do? And by far, what I found out is